I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the work that we have been doing, the roadmap that we've laid out, the achievements that we've worked on, but also the road ahead. Most importantly, this is a journey that we are launching today, and I invite all of you to continue this journey with us. So, I represent today a team that is now called an Office of the Minister of State for Technology and AI. We are a startup ministry in a startup republic in an ancient land and a very young nation. نحن وزارة ناشئة بجمهورية بإداراتها ناشئة بأرض عريقة وبشعب شاب وبيتجدد دائما. أهلا وسهلا. So why am I here? Why was there a decision to have a ministry for technology and AI? It is to be part of a solution to many of the pain points that our citizens experience. If there were no pain points, we wouldn't have a mission, we would have no purpose. We know that there's a lot to do, and we know that not one ministry can do this. This is a group effort. All of us, government, civil society, parliament, all of us have to work together to achieve this progress that we strive for. The pain points, you know them. One, we have substandard public services. You either don't get the service or you get it substandard. We also suffer from having to pay facilitation fees and intermediaries. ورفعنا لهم اسمهم سميناهم سماسرة. They have become part of the social fabric. We suffer from manual and paper-based processes. We also suffer from excessive, redundant approvals. بيروح من إدارة إلى إدارة إلى إدارة تيعمل معاملة مفروض تنعمل ب30 ثانية. But there are bigger problems as well. Problems that affect the whole economy. Especially in the tech industry, we've had limited investment and financing. In 8 or 9 years, when Circular 331 was in effect, the country saw about $500 million go into the tech industry. In the last 5 years, we've seen $5 million go into the tech industry. So we went from 500 to 5 million. That is a state of affairs that cannot continue. Second, we have outdated regulations across the board. With all due respect to the work that's being done in Parliament, across the board, our regulations are outdated. They are not fit for the 21st century. They're not fit for a digital economy. Whether you talk about the protection of digital intellectual property or about establishing companies and winding them up, remember, تصفية الشركات كمان جزء من المشكلة. We have to think about it because that is a challenge every young entrepreneur faces. So we have outdated regulations that need to be improved. We also have unreliable power supply. I know we have these solutions on a local scale, but we will never be able to compete in technology and AI with an unreliable power supply. Just a few days ago in Abu Dhabi, the US Minister of Interior used a phrase that I think I'm going to quote often and often. He said that we've always known that knowledge is power. But today, in the age of AI, power is knowledge. And we need to have a reliable power supply. We also have poor broadband connectivity. Lebanon was once a leader in technology and telecommunications. Today, we suffer from years and years of underinvestment. I trust that there's an easy way out of this, and we should get there. But we are still in the 4G, and we also have poor fiber connectivity. We have illegal providers providing substandard services. That is a problem that plagues the whole economy, and it affects the technology sector, the technology industry particularly. Now, how do we address this? This is not something that one ministry can handle. It is a whole of government initiative. This is about lifting up the whole country. This is a whole of government initiative, and it requires a lot of work from the Ministry of Justice, It requires the Ministry of Telecom to implement the vision, the plan that Minister Hajj has put together about raising the broadband connectivity. It requires the Minister of Energy, Joe Suddi, and his plan to be put into effect, more energy. It also requires a lot of effort from everyone, the Minister of Interior, who's leading on the digital ID. It requires the Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Interior to work on cybersecurity. And the list goes on, and it requires in particular cooperation and close coordination with the Ministry for Admin Reform, OMSAR. They are in charge of reviewing the processes, streamlining them, making life easier for administration and for the citizen, and working closely with the Ministry of Technology to provide the technology solution that today brings the 21st century to citizens and companies. This is, once again, a whole of government exercise. This is not one single minister and the responsibility. It is all of us together. So what have we done? To understand and find our way forward, what we did is we reviewed not only the work that was done in the past to build on it, but we've also looked closely at successful countries that have transformed and led the way digitally. We have built on the work that was done before, because I strongly believe that government is about continuity. You take the good, you improve on the bad. There's nothing that should go to waste. What we've done is we've learned the lesson that was summarized in the digital transformation strategy that was designed in 2019, 22, it was formalized in 22. It needs updating. It's not today the roadmap that we need, but it is something we have built on. But most importantly, we've learned from the experience of other countries. So, based on this, learning the lessons of other countries, you know, the UAE, I was just reminded, established the first Ministry of AI in 2017. Today, there are about 20-some countries with ministers of AI. And the reason they do this is to concentrate the mind, to have one single national agenda that brings all these efforts together and make sure that they're coordinated and well orchestrated. The mandate of the Ministry of Technology and AI, as defined today in the draft law that was approved by the Council of Ministers exactly 2 months ago, is one, to lay out a strategy for the way forward and to work on the regulations and bring all this to the Council of Ministers to make that a national project. It is to develop technology platforms that everyone can use and have access to. It is also to work closely with the Cyber Institute, which will be reporting directly to the Council of Ministers and to the President of the Council of Ministers. It is to define the standards for technology and AI across the board, and also to develop norms for ethical use of artificial intelligence. And we'll announce in a few weeks, we have 5 universities with about 40 researchers focused on workshops solely on the ethics of the use of AI in different industries. The ministry is also to work on an investment and digital economy and to attract investments and make this economy more investor-friendly. And partnerships, of course. And international partnerships. We wouldn't be able to do what we cannot do what we plan to do without the right partnerships with countries, with corporates, but also with our diaspora, the Lebanese diaspora. And I have to say that when this first version was put together in March 2025, I chose to present it to a group of Lebanese in technology in Silicon Valley, a group called LebNet, which represents 2,500 successful Lebanese in technology. And a group of 100 of them took part in the first presentation of the strategy. And then the consultations proceeded on and on. But we started with them because I strongly believe that part of this, the diaspora has a huge role to play, and our success depends on their involvement. So what are the goals that we've set for ourselves? We put them down on paper, and we measure the work that we do with respect to these objectives. One, what we would like and what we aim for, what we're working towards, is for technology and the digital tech to constitute about 10% of the local economy of GDP. This is in line with the United States. It's about 10% in the US. There are countries that have done much better. Singapore is at 24%. We're aiming for 10%, and it's doable, which means $3.5 billion, assuming our GDP will be about 35 billion. I think it's going to be much higher than that, the GDP, that is, because we just got revised numbers. But I'm not going to keep track of that. But our objective, what we keep track of, is how do we create enough investments, enough jobs, so that the tech industry represents 10% of GDP. The other objective is to see the artificial intelligence workforce double. Today, we graduate 3,500 young men and women in technology from universities. This number should triple. The objective is to get to about 10,000 a year. That's how we fully embrace the digital age. This will lead to a rise in labor productivity and in total factor productivity, which will lift the whole economy. It's also our objective to see Lebanon rise in the global rankings. Every time I read a report on artificial intelligence or digital technology, I have pain in my stomach because I see how badly we rank, and I know we can do much better. It's my ambition to do better. It's all of our ambition to see that happen. Lebanon today ranks 82 in the Governance and Artificial Intelligence Index. Our aim is to be in the top 20 by 2030. It's also our objective to reach a point where within 5 years, between now and 2030, we raise $500 million for the technology industry, $500 million to be invested in the tech industry. I think that is a doable objective, and today I'm glad to announce that we have the first commitment from MEVP to raise $100 million for the technology industry. So Walid, if you can. These numbers will make a difference. They will give a young man or a young woman an opportunity to start a business. But it's not going to happen automatically. There's more work to be done. And that is exactly those 4 tracks that I will focus on. The work that this ministry started exactly 9 months ago. We started on the 10th of February, and we have launched 4 tracks, and I'd like to go talk about each one of them. The first one is laying the foundation for a 21st century digital economy, the legal, regulatory, and institutional foundation. This is the work that seems to be slow, ungrateful. It doesn't make it to the news. It's not flashy, but it is the most enduring way to build a digital economy. We have worked on about a dozen pieces of legislation. Most of them, we've worked with the right counterpart, the Ministry of Justice in most cases. We mentioned the Ministry of Technology and AI law, but there's more. There's the work that was done in Parliament with the Digital Authority, which is now in the General Assembly. It went through all the committees. A draft law that had been sitting in Parliament idle since 2022, الهيئة الوطنية للرقمنة, which was also mentioned in the digital strategy of 22. So those are things we've worked on. We've worked on the Special Technology Economic Zone, which is one of the most promising projects that this country will have, which is to create tax-free zones, not only for tech industries, but for tech services as well. This now is at the stage where we're putting together المراسيم التطبيقية with the Ministry of Industry, with the Ministry of Finance, and with the Ministry of Justice. المراسيم التطبيقية للمناطق التكنولوجية الحرة الخاصة. My focus has been, and it's a very personal battle, to look at privacy, and we've drafted a data privacy law with the Ministry of Justice, something that's gone through a review, not just internally, but World Bank and the European Union, as our partnership agreement with the EU requires. Let me move on to the next track. The next track is to actually build the infrastructure. The role of the Ministry of Technology and AI is limited in that way, but it's foundational. It is to develop the national digital infrastructure that links the different ministries together, that allows not only for information and data to flow, but for transactions to be conducted in a safe, reliable way. The basis of this infrastructure is the National Digital ID, which the Minister of Interior has launched and is working on, and we're supporting. We have a supporting role in that. In addition, we're working on the National Digital Infrastructure and on the National Digital Payments Platform. This digital payments platform is something that will link all public administrations and allow through one reliable, safe platform on which any provider can come through open APIs and provide services. Also working on a number of initiatives for international cooperation. And we have also to test things at the municipal level, working with one of the private companies, worked on installing and testing agentic AI to provide first informational services and second transactional services for 3 municipalities, Bremena, Zahli, and inshallah Beirut soon. Those three municipalities have come forward, and we're working with them to test these agentic AI solutions. Finally, on this track, building AI means nothing if you don't have the data sets to work with it. Building data sets is the basis of this new age. Every single ministry is sitting on a treasure trove of information, of data, be it about traffic. Ministry of Public Works has incredible data that they can generate. The Ministry of this or that. The Ministry of Health has an incredible database, and they already have ambitious plans for electronic health records. Once a digital ID is in place, they can offer these services seamlessly. But building the data sets has to become a national enterprise as well. What we've done is we've defined guidance for every ministry on how to build the data. And working with the Ministry of UMSAR, we will be providing a guidance on data retention and on building these data sets in the public sector. All of this, of course, is happening through these partnerships. They're dynamic, never stops. Always build a new partnership, always reach out to someone who you can work with. The third track, to many of us, seems the most important, and it is the one that allows me to respond whenever I hear naysayers, doubters who tell me, ما عندك كهرباء, ما عندك broadband, كيف فيك تعمل AI? Bottom line is, when you have the talent that Lebanon has, when you have the talent that we have as a nation, when you have the diaspora that we have, and the relationships, the friendships, the partnerships that we are forging, we have a future in AI, we have a right to play, and we even have a right to win. So, what do we mean by the talent track? This track covers all ages, it covers men and women, it covers all geographies, irrespective of where you live. And the first training, national training for AI, we are planning it to be launched in Nabatiye at the Kamel Jaber Center. We wanted to start in the south because it is most important to include every single part of Lebanon. It is my promise to have these national programs all over the country, just as the partnership we have with the UAE. We're launching soon Udacity, access to Udacity, where you get certificates, you get training. It is all covered, it's already free. And this is an invitation. This is something that will change the lives of thousands and thousands of Lebanese. Something that all of us will look back on and realize it is a transformative moment. It's an opportunity for everyone. So, finally, on the talent track, I'm very fortunate to have the Minister of Education and Higher Education who's invited us to work with them in terms of giving our input on the curriculum, on how AI has to be part of the national education agenda. That too is the contribution we've made. Our teams have been working together very closely, and I'm very grateful to that. This is planting the seeds for something that this government will not see to its fruition necessarily, but we have to do it today. The fourth and final track is about the ecosystem. We've had an ecosystem that encourages entrepreneurship and innovation. But the last maybe 20 years or so, we have been producing entrepreneurs and shipping them. Like all the talent we have, we've been exporting them. Rather than exporting the talent and entrepreneurs, our ambition is to have an ecosystem that is inviting, supportive of entrepreneurs, of innovators. You've heard me talk about the laws that have to change and the regulations, but you also need institutions, accelerators, incubators. You need mentors. You need universities to roll up their sleeves, and we are fortunate today to have 4 of the universities, AUB, LAU, Jamia Al-Lebaniyya, and UZEC as partners of this, and we're working with them and others. There will be more. But the ecosystem track is also about creating an institution that supports young entrepreneurs or early stage tech. And so for the first time in 5 or 6 years, a Lebanese angel investor network has been relaunched. We had these networks up to 2019, 2020, and then they fizzled out. Today, I'm glad to announce that the Lebanese Angel Investor Network has been established. We now have a chairman for that, Maroon Shammes. I think he's here. ما بعرف وينه, I can't see. Yeah, Maroon. And we have a board, and it's going to be powered by BNY. Abdullah and Ghaith Yafi have volunteered to provide the back office to screen early stage companies, bring them through the pipeline so that investors, angel investors, can actually invest in these companies and give a young entrepreneur an opportunity to launch their business. We've also participated in a number of international venues, and here in particular I want to mention GITEX, but also mention that for the first time we had a delegation of 20 companies back in May in Vivatech in Paris. 20 companies for the first time, a Lebanese pavilion, raising the Lebanese flag for technology and putting Lebanon on the map. 20 companies, some of whom you'll hear from later, Orion, Zaka, and others, they were there, but there's more. In a few months, in May 26, we will have a large event, another event bigger than this one even, but completely different structure based on innovation. We'll have the Innovation Expo, a regional event which Promo Fair will be organizing. More on that later. This will attract innovators, mentors, entrepreneurs from all over the region. All of this is the work that we've worked on, and I have to mention it would not have been possible without the support of a number of Lebanese and the companies they work for, Strategy and Accenture, Oliver Wyman, and Roland Berger. They've rolled up their sleeves and conducted workshops with 12 different ministries talking about what are the opportunities for introducing AI and technology in their services. Now, there's a lot more than the pipeline. In the pipeline, we're working on continued support for the digital ID. This is a priority, a must. Second, the deployment of the national digital infrastructure. Third is the AI judicial tool, which has been tested and will soon be piloted at the Ministry of Justice in certain specific cases using a Lebanese-trained AI agent to provide legal opinions. Fourth, continuing the municipal AI deployment, focusing on agents. And 5, the Code for Lebanon initiative, which brings together universities. So we mobilize young men and women in universities to provide solutions to particular government departments. And finally, something very close to my heart, this is the fund for a fund of fund for technology and digital transformation. This can only be funded through international public institutions. For the next 2 or 3 years, we have to assume that the Lebanese banking system will still be recovering, in a recovery mode, will not be in a stage where it can fund these companies. And so if you want these companies to grow in Lebanon, you need to not just launch companies through the angel investor network, but you also need to provide early stage or Series A and B funding. And this can only happen through this fund of fund that we have designed. We put together the concept, and hopefully the Minister of Finance will be supportive, will work on funding initially from the World Bank, from the European Investment Bank, and others. This is another chance, another possibility to provide a lifeline, oxygen, possibilities for growth, to scale up these businesses that have such promise. These are the projects we're working on. This is the vision. This is, you can imagine, in 5 years, if you close your eyes and imagine what kind of country you want to live in, what kind of digital republic you want to have serve you. How do you measure if it's worked? It's if we've managed to reverse the brain drain and turned it into a brain gain. The minute a young Lebanese will have a choice, a real choice, to build their company, their future in Lebanon, that is when we would have achieved this ambition. It is about giving young Lebanese a choice to stay here, to build their future here, and reverse the brain drain. Second, I know it gets personal with me because I have young kids, as many of you do. And as I did not have a choice to stay here, and I was fortunate to have great opportunities abroad, what we want is for all Lebanese to have these opportunities in their own country. Second, we will have a connected and AI-ready government where about 80% of services are on the cloud, where services are provided seamlessly. And third, we'll have, most importantly, a vibrant, innovative ecosystem that's creating unicorns. You know, Lebanese have succeeded, and they've succeeded all over the world. And our ambition is to have this system here, this ecosystem, this environment, the government, the rules, the regulations supporting this innovative system here. All of this is an invitation to roll up your sleeves. It's a call to action, and I invite you to join us. And before I do, I would be remiss if I did not thank first the partners who helped us put this together. MEVP, thank you. IFP, Albert Aoun, I saw you there. Thank you. But most important, I want to recognize the team of volunteers who've been working. If you can stand up, I'd like to see you all, the team of volunteers from the Ministry of Technology and AI. I can recognize you. This is a team that started working in February when there was not even the promise that we would have our offices, our space, that we would have a mandate, that we would even have, all of this. I want to thank Met Nadine Shawi, Shadi Azzeddin, Jadem Naimni, Miguel Jraidi, Sharbi Lishbeir, Raisa Klimos, Abdallah, Anthony, Noor Fayyad, Guy, Yusuf, Wainak, Alessandro, Shlela, did I miss anyone? Lucine Raad, and sorry if I miss anyone, it's just I did not have the names. Anyway, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being there, for getting the work done, and for bringing us to this. The road ahead is even more interesting. Let's keep going. Thank you very much.